all have been sitting here for quite some time, and let's go ahead, if you can, stand and, stretch a little bit, bend over, touch your toes, whatever it is you need to do. I understand you've been over-inundated with a lot of information, and I'm just another presenter that you've got to take time out to listen to. Okay, wonderful. One of my favorite writers once penned the question that asked, "What man buildeth the house without first counting the cost?" And I want to welcome you all here and congratulate you for taking the time out to be here all day to learn and to count the cost of home ownership. If a lot of people had done what you've done today, I think that we would not be in the crisis that we're in right now with the number of foreclosures and the number of short sales that we're having to do, because a lot of people did not stop and think about, could they really afford the home that they're purchasing. So I want to take the time out to congratulate you for taking a full day of your schedule to sit here and listen to all these speakers that have come up and actually gain information to help you make an informed decision. One of the things that we want to talk about on today, and I know you've been overwhelmed with a lot of information, first of all. So I want to explain to you how you're going to actually bring all that information together once you leave here. Because once you walk out the door, you're going to think, I've had 5 or 6 speakers to give me so much information that I've never heard of. When I walked through the door, I thought I would just pick out the house I want, sign on the dotted line, and move in. I did not realize that there was such a huge process in purchasing a home. And so I want to explain to you that there is help out there for you, and you don't have to worry about pulling your hair out and the fact that you're going to be bald-headed once you move into your new home. Okay? Realtors are there to assist you, and it is important that you take the time out to research realtors and allow them to assist you through this process. And understand that purchasing a home is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. And so there are going to be many days that you're going to want to cry. There are going to be other days that you're going to be extremely excited. There are going to be days that you're going to be nervous. And there are going to be days that you're going to be wanting to run out and just look at all the houses that's available. You're going to have ups and downs through this process. But your realtor is there to experience all of those attitudes and emotions that you're going to go through. And so I want to explain to you today how you hire a realtor to work for you. Because it is extremely important that you hire the realtor to work for you and not just call someone up on the telephone and go out and start looking at houses. Now, for those of you who are sitting in class today and you've been calling realtors up, looking at houses, having them run out there, telling them, oh yes, I've been pre-approved, and you're not actually meeting with them before you start the process, stop. Don't call another realtor until you've been pre-approved for your loan first. Once you've been pre-approved, then you can start looking at houses. But before then, if you start looking at these houses, you're setting yourself up for failure, and the process is going to be extremely difficult if you cannot get approved for the amount that you feel like you can actually afford to purchase. Because the lender is going to look at what your debt and income is and tell you what they're going to lend you, not what you feel like you can afford. We all feel like we can afford much more than we actually can. And so it's important that you get pre-approved. But once you've done that, be sure you hire a realtor to assist you through this process. Now, the first form that I've given you is reasons why you should hire a realtor. Now, we're not going to go through those. You can take that home, mull over those, think about them, read it for yourself. So take that home, and when you can't go to sleep at night, pull that form out and read it. It'll probably help you fall asleep. The next form that you see in your packet is going to be a form that's called an Information About Brokerage Services form. Most realtors will probably refer to it as an IABS form. Write that down. So if they say IABS, you understand that they're talking about an Information About Brokerage Services form. They're going to present that form to you, or they should present that form to you, have you read it and sign it. That form explains to you who the realtor is actually working for. And if you have not hired the realtor to work for you, and you hire them, and we'll talk about it in a minute, by signing a contract with them, but if you have not hired them to work for you, they actually work for the seller of the property. So it is extremely important that you understand the proper procedures for hiring the realtor to work for you. Now, they will go over the IABS form, and you can read that. When they ask you to sign that form, the form is not committing you to anything. Okay? That is just simply for their records. If ever a complaint is filed against them and their files are audited, they can have that form in the file, and they're able to say, I explained to them before we started this process, here's their signature, here's the date, this is who I was working for, and this is what has happened. Thank you. Now, the next form you're going to see in your packet that I gave you is a form that's called Duties and Services Desired in Real Estate. That particular form, I want you to take a minute, read through both sides, and check off the items that are important to you through this process that a realtor will perform for you. If you can take about a minute, read through those items, and check those items off, and we'll discuss that in just a second. Now, since you've read through that, looking at your form, do you have more checks on the right-hand side of the form or on the left-hand side of the form?
On the right-hand side.
If you've got more checks on the right-hand side of the form, that means that you actually want to hire the realtor then to work for you, because all of those duties and services are important to you in your process. Now, your realtor will present to you a 4-page document. Remember, you've gotten the information about brokerage services form. They've explained to you now how you hire a realtor, how the seller hires a realtor, and then also a position that's called intermediary relationship of the broker. They've explained all of that to you. Now, the contract, and you signing that contract, is what's going to commit the two of you to working together. I did not print the contract up for you because it's 4 pages and we're about green now, and so I wanted to save a tree and not print up so many documents. But that form, and if I had access to a computer, I'd pull it up for you. But since I don't, again, it's 4 pages long. The first section of the form is going to be information about you and information about the broker that you're hiring. The next section goes through, and the next 4 pages explains the terms of the contract to you. And so you read that and make sure you ask the broker questions about the form. Now, when you're meeting with a realtor, understand that when you hire a realtor, that is one of the professions where you can actually hire someone to work for you, and you not really have to pay them anything for working for you. And they're your employee, and you're their employer. And so think of it in that sense, that you're actually hiring somebody and you get to tell them what to do, and they get to try and meet your needs. Now, there are some realtors that do charge a retainer fee when they sign the buyer's rep agreement. Understand, you may have a small fee that you need to pay, and that is not unheard of. I don't know what the retainer fee is because all realtors have their own set of practices, but understand you may have that to come up as well and be expecting it. Okay? Some of you are saying, well, why would I pay a retainer's fee? Let me explain to you. When you hire the realtor to work for you, a realtor does not get paid anything until you walk away with your keys in your hand. And so you're asking them to commit to 3 to 6 months, and some of you maybe even a year, driving around looking at houses, and if you're undecisive and you've not been pre-approved for a loan, they're using gas, and we understand how gas is going up and down. They're using the wear and tear of their vehicle. They're having to go out and maybe drive you around, coming to your house, answering all of your phone calls, and the cell phone bills are rising steadily. And so they're incurring costs this whole time. And then some of you may even walk away and not even buy a property from this realtor. And they've invested a lot of money. And we all know that money does not grow on trees. And so understand there may be a retainer fee involved in that. Now, if the realtor charges, if you pay the retainer fee, most times that retainer fee is non-refundable. Some realtors may, however, refund it at closing, but that's something you walk away with an understanding once you sign that buyer's rep agreement. Do we have any questions so far? No questions at all? Wow. Okay. So once you've been presented with the buyer's rep agreement and you've been approved for your loan, you received your pre-approval letter from the lender, your realtor will now start showing you houses, and be sure you get an understanding that the realtor is going to walk you through the complete process. And so they're there when you get your letter from the lender, but they're there also when you sign on the dotted line and receive the keys. And they're going to be just as excited as you are to help you through this process. So call on the realtor and don't start calling all of the other realtors, because you've now hired someone to work for you. Okay? If there are no other questions, thank you for your time, and happy house hunting.
Terrific.